for the New York Mets tonight. New York Yankees took an extra innings loss. Luke Weaver finally crumbled after he was on. You got to cut him some slack. I mean, the guy has been phenomenal all postseason. He's pitched in every single game. Eventually, you had to know at some point the Yankees bullpen was going to have a bad moment. And it had its bad moment, and that's okay. Yankees, don't be worried. Mets fans specifically, don't be worried just yet. Maybe be worried for game 6 and potentially game 7. But this game is going to be won by the New York Mets tonight. And I would say I'm jinxing it, but you know what? I've been confident all year since June. Since June, the Mets have been the best team in baseball. I know the Dodgers have been playing great. Yes, but guess what? The Mets can beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers are a beatable team. How do you do it? Well, you win tonight. You win tonight, and it starts from there. Because you know what? The Mets have Sean Manaea lined up for game 6. We just got to get him the ball. Get him the ball. Because if we can get Manaea the ball in game 6 by winning tonight, I can say confidently that I think this series will go to game 7. And anything can happen in game 7. I think the Dodgers would likely win game 7, to be honest, because losing 3 in a row when you got Shohei Ohtani swinging the bat the way he is, he's got a 1.238 OPS in the NLCS right now. He's getting on base every time, whether it's a walk or a home run or a double. Ohtani is going to score. So why not challenge him? We're going to get into that. The intentional walks to Ohtani have been killing the Mets. Killing the Mets. I'm not sure if Mendoza is the one saying intentionally walk, like unintentionally, like pitch around him, or if it's the pitchers just being scared against Ohtani. Manaea wasn't, but Manaea can't pitch every inning, unfortunately. But the Mets can still come back if they get Sean Manaea the ball. David Peterson needs to go 6-7 innings, limit the Dodgers to 2 to 3 runs. But at the same time, it's not on David Peterson tonight. It's on the Mets bats. They were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position yesterday. They have only scored in 4 or 5 innings this entire series? Like the way that they played against the Phillies, the way they played against the Brewers, the way they played against the Braves to get to the playoffs, really all season long. They're a scrappy team. But against the Dodgers in a 7-game series, it's hard to play that way because the Dodgers are going to score runs. We're not going to shut them out tonight. We're not going to limit them to 2-3 runs. If the Mets want to win tonight, it's simply on the bats. It's on the guys to come up with bases loaded, no matter if it's Lindor, Francisco Alvarez, Jesse Winker. Last night, 2 nights ago, we saw guys in the middle of the lineup, not in the middle of the lineup, but in the bottom of the lineup come up in crucial situations, and they just didn't come through. And we can't rely on Francisco Lindor every single time to save us. I think if he comes up in a big spot tonight, I expect Lindor to come through. He went 2 for 4 last night. But at the same time, we can't expect him to put the team on his back every single game. And the same thing, Pete Alonso, you can give him a lot of credit for what he's done in the postseason, but in the NLCS, he has been silent. We need him more than ever tonight. Mark Vientos, got to give him props, man. He is establishing himself as one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter in this lineup. I know it's hard to say he's a better hitter than Lindor after Lindor had the year he had. 2 back-to-back seasons with 30-plus home runs. Last year, he had 100-plus RBIs. This year, he was almost there. OPS over 830. So, saying Vientos is a better hitter than Lindor could be stupid of me. But at the same time, it's hard for me not to say Mark Vientos is the best hitter in the Mets lineup right now. And arguably, since he was given a shot to be the everyday third baseman, he's been the best hitter in the Mets lineup right now. I mean, you look at Vientos' numbers in the postseason and in the regular season. I mean, we see guys elevate play in the postseason sometimes. But when you're a guy in the regular season and your first real opportunity to get an everyday job, in just 110 games, this guy hit 27 home runs. Now, what happens when he plays every single day like Lindor and Alonso? How many home runs do we think he can finish the season with? Maybe 35, maybe 40 plus. Those are superstar numbers, and he did it while hitting just under 270, hitting 268. OPS of 844. And then in the postseason, Right when you say, all right, young guys, sometimes they get figured out because postseason pitching is different than the regular season. And that's obvious. I mean, we see it with Walker Buehler just the other night. He's on. We see Sean Manaea pitching probably the best he's ever pitched, and that's after having a great regular season. I mean, Manaea is locked in right now. So he's doing it in the postseason when pitching it's just harder to hit in the postseason. It's just how it is. And he's doing it in big spots. I mean, yesterday, his home run after Ohtani goes yard. I mean, it felt like, oh yeah, we can still win this game. I mean, if we go scoreless that inning, who knows? Then the Dodgers probably could have taken a whopping lead early. But Vientos hits that home run. He knows the moment. In 11 games this postseason, he's got a 370 batting average, OPS of 1.070, 4 home runs, 17 hits in those 11 games, 12 RBIs. Wow. I mean, and he scored 7 times. He's doing it all. Vientos is having a fantastic postseason. And no matter what happens tonight, no matter what happens this series, looking at next year, you have to love the fact that you have Lindor and Vientos in that lineup. And when Nimmo gets healthy, hopefully he can get better. And then, I would say let's re-sign Pete Alonso. And then from there, we're going to get into what I think we need next season, what I've seen from this series that I don't like thinking about next season and the offseason, even though we're here right now. But no matter what happens, I feel like we need another big bat in the lineup to match. Because I can confidently say the Mets will be back in this moment in the NLCS within the next few years. I'm not going to guarantee they'll be there next year or the year after that, but they're going to be in the playoffs, I feel like. And I have a feeling they're going to be back in this moment sometime soon. And Vientos has shown me that he's going to be a centerpiece of those teams going forward. He has an all-star. He has all-star potential for sure. He would have been an all-star if he started the year in the majors. In 110 games, the kid had 27 home runs. That's insane. Also, Mets tickets are $70 right now. Wow. I wish I would go, but I'm up in Saratoga right now. So that's about a 3-hour drive. So I would get there at 7 o'clock. So unfortunately, I will not be going. But if you are close by, I mean, why not? Why not? Because I do think the Mets have to win this game. No doubt about it. Everybody knows they have to win this game. If they lose, season's over. But if they win this game, they can go to game 7. They can go to game 7. Like I said before, you get Sean Manaea the ball, and you can make this a series again. And if game 7 happens, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Like I said before, I feel like the Dodgers might just come away. That's the Mets doomer in me. But also the positive Mets in me is saying, dude, this is still not over. We went tonight with David Peterson on the bump, who's been one of our most reliable starters since he came back from injury and joined the rotation in the middle of the season. I mean, in the regular season, even in the postseason, David Peterson has pitched very well outside of his one outing against the Dodgers in game 1, but you can't really put it all on him. I mean, it didn't really help that the bats got going early when Kodai Senga was throwing the ball all over. But David Peterson, in his lone outing, right now in the postseason, he's got a 2.08 ERA in 8.2 innings of work. He's allowed 2 earned runs, and that's only to the Dodgers. So across 4 games, he's been amazing. He's getting his first opportunity to start this postseason, and I can confidently say I love that. There's no guy other than Sean Manaea I'd rather have in the bump in this situation than David Peterson. In 21 games this season, he went 10-3 with a 2.9 ERA, only allowed 39 earned runs over 120 innings of work, struck out 101 batters. So I think the key is for Peterson, I mean, you got to paint. He's got to paint. Limit the walks. This season in the regular season, he had 46 walks. So he did good job. He did a pretty good job in the regular season on limiting the walks. Let's take a look at his game log. Yeah, so for example, against the Phillies, didn't walk a single batter. In the second game he played against them, against Milwaukee, didn't walk a single batter. And we all know how he did against Milwaukee. He did walk 3 batters in the first time he faced Milwaukee. But yeah, I mean, against Philadelphia, against Philly on September 15th, he went 7.2 innings, 6 Ks, only 1 walk. So this is a pitcher that can limit the walks. But the question is he going to be pitching around guys? Because if he's pitching around Shohei Ohtani, like I said before, when you pitch around Shohei Ohtani, it's useless. Useless. Challenge him. You get him on base with a walk, he's going to score. What's up, Lane? How we doing, man? Let's go, Mets. Lane, how you feeling tonight? You think we can do it? And let me know how you feel about these walks. Let me know about this take, because I think putting Ohtani on first base with all these free passes is just useless. He's going to score. He's going to score. You got Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman hitting behind him. And Mookie Betts woke up. Mookie Betts has woken up. He's not the same postseason Mookie Betts that we've seen in years prior. Ohtani in the postseason right now, overall, his numbers coming into the series, they were terrible. They were terrible. But so far in the NLCS, 1.238 OPS, only 4 hits, and he scored 7 times. He's got 4 hits, and he scored 7 times. That is bad. That is bad, bad, bad. Terrible. You cannot let that happen. He's got 5 RBIs. So he's not even killing us with his hits. He's killing us because we're giving him all these free passes. All these free passes are useless. I mean, he scored from first to third yesterday. And that's another thing. Brandon Nimmo in left field. I love him. I love him. And he is a dog. But he's definitely hindered by this injury. His foot is just not okay. I'm not saying Ohtani didn't do a great job hustling around the bag, getting from first to home, and like, he's just that good. But at the same time, Nimmo, at full health, he's cutting that ball off, and he's staying, at least holding him to third base. So that's that. But you got to limit the walks tonight. And I think David Peterson can do that. I'm going to be very interested to see. And this is how we'll know. How does he attack Shohei Ohtani? Because Ohtani, if he gets a hit, great. Cool. If he gets a base knock, whatever. It's better than a walk. Same thing. Literally the same thing. Challenge him. Do not pitch around him. Because every time he gets on base, bad things happen. And mostly because it's the guys who follow. And like I said before, Mookie Betts woke up. I think the Mets can win this home game tonight. Peterson's just got to limit the walks. He gives them 5 or 6 innings of work. Limit the Dodgers to 3 runs. We can take this series because we can take this game, but it's on the bats. It's on the bats that went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position yesterday. That's only scored in 5 innings. This is bad offense by the Mets. They have to score early. They have to capitalize with runners in scoring position. I mean, Brandon Nimmo, you got to give him credit for hustling that grounder out, potential double play. But we're still in that game too. And we have to manage the bullpen correctly too. So that's also on Carlos Mendoza. Because we were in the game when Jose Butto came in. And we all know Jose Butto has been terrible in the playoffs. Why do we put Jose Butto in there? It was still a game that we could come back to. So the Mets, they have to score early tonight. They have to. Because you could make the case that the only reason Jose Butto was in yesterday is because we need to go balls to the wall tonight. And Mendoza is. I mean, Jesse Winker's finally back in the lineup. He almost hit a grand slam last night that would have really, really got us Mets fans going. Unfortunately, it just died out in a summer game. Maybe that goes over the roll, but with the cold weather and the wind, didn't really help. But Winker in the lineup tonight, that's huge against a right-hander, especially like Jack Flaherty. I mean, Winker, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the only guys to get a base knock off Jack Flaherty. Jeff McNeil in the lineup. We do like that. I do like that. So the Mets lineup tonight is Lindor leading off as usual. Best leadoff hitter in the game, but maybe outside of Ohtani. Brandon Nimmo in left. Vientos at third, who's been having a terrific postseason. 4 postseason home runs, an OPS of over 1,000. Pete Alonso in the cleanup spot at first. Jesse Winker, DH, and batting fifth. Starlin Marte, who's actually been pretty productive this postseason as well, in right field. Tyrone Taylor, the defensive stud in center. Jeff McNeil, his first time in the starting lineup this postseason, playing second, batting eighth. And then Francisco Alvarez behind the dish, catching. And Francisco Alvarez got a much-needed base knock. And I feel like Alvarez kind of redeemed himself big time yesterday. I mean, he had a terrible game in game 3. And you can use all the excuses you want. You know what? He's a professional ball player. He's been here for 2 years now. I know he's 22 years old, but we cannot see him look too small in the moment like he did in game two. I mean, in game three. But you know what? In game four, he saw a hole. He didn't swing for the fences as we usually see him do. He got a base knock right through the hole at second base. That's what we want to see out of Francisco Alvarez. We know he's got all this power. We know he can put the ball over the wall at any given moment. But can he do like what he did last night? Because with the bases loaded, if he doesn't swing out of his shoes and throw the bat down the line in game three, if he just puts one in the outfield in the air, a run scores. And then you got Francisco Lindor to follow. So, like, we need Alvarez to play like, well, hit like he did yesterday. See an open opportunity to put the ball in a gap. In that case, the shift affected the Dodgers. He saw the shift. He poked one through. He does that in game three, and it's a completely different series. Who knows? He's got to come. He's got to know the moment. He's got to know the moment. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's that. I do agree with that, Lane. I do agree with that. The Mets can definitely play a game 6 and a game 7. David Peterson, as much as I want to say this game depends on him, it does not. It depends on the bats. It depends on the guys like Lindor, Nimmo, and Pete. And yes, Mark Vientos too. I'm adding him to that list now. Those 4 guys, we need him. Really, Jesse Winker. I love this top 5 of the order. I think this is the best Mets lineup all postseason. This top 5, I mean, Lindor or Ohtani. Ohtani obviously takes Lindor, but Lindor is right after Ohtani in the NL. So he's probably going to finish second in the MVP voting. So it's kind of hard. Any other leadoff hitter, Lindor clears him, but it just so happens to be Ohtani. But it's not a major loss. Mookie Betts or Brandon Nimmo. Mookie Betts, especially with Nimmo hurt. Teoscar Hernandez or Mark Vientos. I'm taking Mark Vientos. Freddie Freeman or Pete Alonso. I mean, depending on what Pete Alonso we get tonight, if he nuts up, I think I might take Pete, especially with Freddie Freeman hurt right now. Tommy Edman or Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker all day, especially against right-handed pitching. And with runners in scoring position this year, Jesse Winker has been one of our best hitters. So I'm so happy to see him in the lineup tonight. With runners in scoring position this postseason, I mean, not just this postseason, but with runners in scoring position this season, Winker had a 327 batting average and a 962 OPS. Finally back in the lineup tonight, so I'd 100% take Winker over the Dodgers 5-hitter tonight, Tommy Edman. Starlin Marte or Kike Hernandez, he's playing like a boss right now. I'm so scared of Hernandez, so I'll take Hernandez, I guess. Max Muncy or Tyrone Taylor, obviously Max Muncy. I mean, that guy, his vision of the plate is the reason he is so good right now. Jeff McNeil or Will Smith, I don't know. And then Alvarez or Pages, that's tough too. Both young guys with a lot of pop, with a lot of potential. But this Mets lineup is right there with the Dodger lineup. It's right there. Can we hit Jack Flaherty? That's the question. Can we hit Jack Flaherty? And Flaherty has had bad starts. He's got roughed up once this postseason by the Padres. Twice, actually. Not twice. His last start against the Padres in the regular season wasn't too well, but when he pitched against the Padres in his first postseason start, 5.1 innings of work, five hits allowed, 4 runs allowed, only 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. Then he goes out there and dominates the Mets in the NLCS, but he's hittable. He is hittable. And I think Lindor, Nimmo, Vientos, Alonso, Winker, it's on them. It's on the top 5 of the batting order. And I love how we have Jeff McNeil batting 8th right in front of Francisco Alvarez, because if he can get on base, I mean, you can't really pitch around Alvarez because then you got Lindor backing him up. So I love McNeil and Alvarez at the bottom of the order. I love that. So Mets, I think, put out their best line of the all NLCS, really all postseason. When you got McNeil healthy and you got Jesse Winker needs to be in the lineup. I don't even, like, at this point, I want Jesse Winker in the lineup. Yes, I am going to be doing off-season live shows, but I am going to be, I'm saying this too, Jesse Winker against lefties, I still want him in the lineup. Because JD Martinez, he hasn't had an extra base hit since early September. I don't want JD Martinez in the lineup. As great as he is or was, His bat speed has definitely slowed down. He can't get to the ball as quick as he used to. He's still got maybe the strength to put it over, but he definitely diminished some of his strength. His bat speed for sure slowed down. I want Winker in that lineup every single game. We win tonight, I want Winker in there Sunday. We win Sunday, obviously you put him in for game 7, but we can get there. We can definitely get to game 7. Like I said, we win tonight. You get Sean Manaea the ball against a Dodgers bullpen. We can win that game, and who knows what happens in game 7. Who knows? But what went wrong for the Mets, I think we all know. These past 2 games, almost identical. Runners in scoring position, bases loaded numerous times. We were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position in game 4. That cannot happen tonight. That's the key to winning tonight. Hit with runners in scoring position, because we all know the Mets can get runners in scoring position. The Mets can rally enough to make it at least a little tease. Stop teasing us and get the job done now. Get the job done tonight. Yuki asking, was it a mistake to start Kodai Senga game 1? If we started Manaea game 1, then he would have been. Yes, that is true. At the same time, though, now that we're down 3-1, if we win tonight, there's nobody else I'd want on that mound in game 6 than Sean Manaea. Nobody. And I'm confident in David Peterson. So I like the Kodai move, because everybody liked the Kodai move when we beat the Phillies. Everybody loved the Senga move. Everybody. Outside of one bad pitch against the Phillies, he shut them down those 2 innings. And everybody was like, oh, Mendoza made this great move. And then going from Senga to Peterson, like, that's a dangerous duo. We were all saying how dangerous that could be in the postseason. And then he has one bad outing. Couldn't find the strike zone. It's not like he got rocked. He just couldn't find the zone. So I don't mind seeing Senga out of the bullpen today, because if Senga's throwing if he's wild in the bullpen, simple. You don't bring him in the game. But if Senga's throwing strikes in the bullpen, I like that guy. I think Senga is undoubtedly our best pitcher. Maybe not right now, but when he's at full strength and he's in the zone, there's nobody better than Kodai Senga. The guy had over 200 strikeouts in his first year in the MLB with the Mets. 2.98 ERA, won 12 games for us, was an NL All-Star. So if Senga in the bullpen, if he's throwing strikes, you got to put him in. You got to. Because if there's anybody that can mow this lineup down in the Mets rotation outside of Sean Manaea, it's Kodai Senga. But the question is he going to be in the zone? And like I said before, everybody loved that decision from Mendoza. He had one bad pitch against the Phillies, and he mowed him down after that. And then he has one bad outing in his 3rd outing of the year after being hurt all year. I think throwing him out there in the 2nd inning was stupid of Mendoza. I think we should have pulled him after the 1st inning. You can definitely say that. But I'm not going to say it was a bad decision to start him game 1, because I thought it was a great decision game 1 against the Phillies in the NLDS. And a lot of fans thought that. So I think some fans are kind of too crucial on Mendoza for making that decision. Now, like I said before, you can knock him for sending him out there for the 2nd inning, because that was definitely costly. He was out of the zone. He was all over the place in that 1st inning. But I don't think it was a mistake to give him the ball. I don't. Now, would it be a mistake to give him a start tonight? I think it would. I like the idea of going with Peterson first, because like I said before, you can always put Senga in the bullpen. You can warm him up, and if he's throwing strikes, you put him in there. But if he's all over the place, you can say, hey, man, sit back down. Sit back down. We'll wait. Maybe we'll try in game 7 if we get there. Knock on wood. But the Mets, like I said before, it starts tonight. You want to get to game 6. We can definitely get to game 7 if we get to game 6. Because with Sean Manaea on the bump for game 6, I'd be confident he can make us go to game 7. But it starts tonight. David Peterson needs to go 6, maybe 5 or 6 innings, limit the Dodgers to 3 runs, and the Mets need to take an early lead. Stop playing from behind. Stop walking guys unintentionally, intentionally, or intentionally, unintentionally, however you want to say it. These free passes, especially to Shohei Ohtani, don't end well. Leadoff walks lead to runs. Plain and simple. limit the walks, and you limit the runs, and you score some runs early, and the Mets will win this game. And you get Sean Manaea the ball in game 6. There's nobody else you'd rather have on the mound in that spot. So that's what the Mets got to do. They got to get Sean Manaea the ball. That's what if I'm Carlos Mendoza, I'm saying this is Sean Manaea. He's been a beast since really all year long. In the second half, one of the best pitchers in MLB. In the postseason, arguably the best pitcher right now. Maybe not undoubtedly on paper, he's the best pitcher, but right now in the postseason, he's performed the best. He shut down Shohei Ohtani. This man needs to give us a chance to get to game 7, but it cannot happen unless we win tonight. And we have David Peterson on the mound, who had a 2.90 ERA in 21 games, went 10-3 in the regular season. There's nobody else we'd rather have on the mound for this moment. There's nobody we'd rather have on the mound for a potential game 6, but you gotta win tonight. It's on the bats. It's on the bats. What are the bats going to do? I don't know. I know we're going to get runners in scoring position, but from there, they have to capitalize. That's the key for the Mets tonight. Mets can do it. Let's see if they can. All right. I want to get to the Yankees in a little bit. I'm thinking I was going to talk some Jets and Giants today, but I'm going to cut that part. Mets play too soon, man. Mets play too soon. Friday, is it Friday evening? Would you consider 5? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Right? But would you consider Friday at 5 o'clock evening time or middle of the day time? Sun's out. It's a beautiful day, almost in the 60s. And that's in upstate New York. But let's talk some Yankees. Even while I'm wearing the blue and orange, I got the Knicks hat for Karl Anthony Towns. I got the Mets jersey. Well, the batting practice jersey. I'm switching it up. But yeah, Yankees took a tough extra innings loss last night. Tough one, especially when Judge and Stanton go back-to-back. Judge had a huge home run to give the Yankees the lead. Only 1 for 5 last night, but 3 strikeouts. But a home run that was huge for the Yankees. And then Stanton continuing his great postseason, upped his batting average to 308, slugging percentage of 731, on base percentage of 419. Hit another postseason home run that was back-to-back with Aaron Judge, his 3rd postseason home run. He's got 8 hits in 7 games this postseason, OPS of 1.150. Stanton has been the guy for the Yankees. Juan Soto, he kind of cooled down last night. So far in the postseason, he's hitting 292. He's also got an OPS of 877. 7 hits in 7 games. Last night, he went 0 for 4. He was silent, did get on base with a walk and scored. But outside of that, nothing too crazy from Juan Soto. You get something from Juan Soto, you win that game last night. It's not on Juan Soto, but Clark Schmidt, you got to like what you saw from him. I mean, he's given the Yankees an opportunity to win ball games in the postseason, and that's what you need out of him. That's exactly what you need. Garrett Cole, he's the guy you need to go 6, 7 dominant innings, potentially 8. Clark Schmidt, he's the guy you just need to keep you in the goddamn ball game. Unfortunately, the Guardians, who I don't think are a scary team. I'm not saying the Yankees' path to the World Series is easy, so Yankees fans don't come at me. It's not easy to get to the ALCS. It's not. And say what you want about the Guardians, but they're also in the ALCS. But I just think the Yankees are the superior team. And I don't think after last night's loss, it's going to give the Guardians so much momentum to the point where they're going to tie the series. I don't. So tonight, Yankees, Guardians, Game 4, 8:08. Got Louis Hill making his first postseason appearance versus Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams had a terrible regular season in 16 games. This season, he went 3-10, 4.86 ERA, 32 walks in 16 games. Wow. 42 runs allowed in 16 games. Wow. That's terrible. So you got to like that if you're the Yankees lineup. Louis Hill, it depends what Louis Hill you get, because if he gets behind in the count, we all know the type of pitcher he turns into. He's not too well. He leaves the ball straight over the plate, and he gets hit. But in the beginning of the season, he got ahead in the count. If he gets ahead in the count, he's good. And he's going to be well rested. He hasn't pitched since September 28th against Pittsburgh. That start, he got roughed up. 5.2 innings, 6 hits allowed, 6 earned runs. He let up 4 home runs. The home run ball really is what killed him. He let up 18 home runs in the regular season. So Hill needs to just get ahead in the count because, like I said before, in the regular season in the first half, he was so good because he got ahead in the count. He's got put away pitches. He's got a great arsenal. But if he gets behind the count, starts to leave the ball over the plate, that's when he lets up all these home runs. I mean, in his last 1, 2, 3, 4 starts, he let up 6 home runs. In his last 7 starts, he actually let up 8 home runs too. So that's another bad stat for Hill. Since August 7th, and since August, that's when he let up all those home runs. That was really bad. But yeah, just can't get behind the count because that's when things start to go south for Hill. But he, like I said before, he is well rested. He hasn't pitched since September 28th. So who knows what we get out of him, but that sometimes your command is a little off when you take that long of a break. So it's going to be interesting to see what Louis Hill we get from the Yankees tonight. But I think the Yankees are going to demolish Gavin Williams. Like I said before, 3-10 regular season record, 4.86 ERA. It's his first appearance this postseason. I think the Yankees are going to beat him up. With that said, now I want to go to the topic of everybody talking about how the path to the World Series for the Yankees is Mickey Mouse. So that's stupid. That is so stupid. The Guardians won 92 games in the regular season. I know they were in the AL Central. It's still hard to win 92 games. The Yankees, I mean, they beat a good Royals team. And right now, they have a lead, a commanding lead. I'd say commanding lead, even though it's 2-1, but it's because they are the superior team by far. I mean, their lineup is 10 times better. I mean, who's scary? Who's scary in the Guardians lineup? Maybe Kyle Manzardo now after his home run, and then David Fry comes out of nowhere. But it's really Jose Ramirez, and that's it. You can make a case for Josh Naylor, but Josh Naylor had a 776 OPS, 243 batting average, so he's good, great player, but he's not scary. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Giancarlo Stanton right now, that's scary. Jose Ramirez, he is scary. But outside of that, Yankees are the superior team. Outside of what? Tanner Bybee? Who else do the Guardians have? I mean, they're going to Gavin Williams tonight, who has a 3-10 record all season. So at the same time, though, that does not make the Yankees run easy. It's like, yeah, they're beating up on bad teams because that's what good teams do. I hate when people always say, oh, but they beat a bad team. Want them to lose? Isn't that what good teams do? They beat up on bad teams. That's what the Yankees are doing. Now, yes, when they get to the World Series, if they play the Dodgers, it's going to be a tough test. And I can say that because I've been watching Ohtani these past few nights, and he is unstoppable. He's just unstoppable. I don't know how you stop him. You have to go after him because if you pitch around him and you put him on first with a free pass, he's scoring. He's scoring, especially if it's a leadoff walk to start the game. And you throw one in the zone for him, he could put it over the wall, and it hits the end of his bat. He was so early on that pitch last night against Jose Quintana, and he still hit it over 115 miles per hour. He's just... Ohtani's unthinkable. He might go down. If he wins a World Series, or 2 or 3, I don't know how many they could. Apparently the Dodgers are going to be in on Juan Soto this offseason. But if Ohtani just wins 1 or 2, he might be regarded as one of the best of all time. Maybe the best. He's that good. That's only if he pitches again, because I still think Aaron Judge is a better hitter. But Ohtani, I mean, he is something else, man. Something else. So if the Yankees do play that squad, it's going to be a tough test. It is going to be a tough series. If they play the Mets, I think you got to be hoping, if you're a Yankee fan, you got to be hoping we fight back this series. Because if we fight back this series, the Yankees are a much better team than the Mets. They have Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Giancarlo Stanton. We're going to have the same issue that we're having in the NLCS if we somehow come back. So Yankee fans should be rooting for the Mets. That's all I'll say there. But the Yankees, I mean, you got to love what you're getting out of Stanton. And you got to expect, you had to expect the Yankees bullpen was going to crumble at some point. Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver pitched in every single game this postseason. Tommy Canley, still the lone guy in that Yankees bullpen. And then Tim Meza joined him. He's pitched 2 games this postseason. They haven't allowed a single run in the postseason. But Luke Weaver and Clay Holmes, I mean, they were the guys all postseason long who they pitched in every single game. Clay Holmes has yet to allow a run up until last night. Luke Weaver allowed the home run the night before, but outside of that, he's been phenomenal. They were unfortunately the guys to let up the 2 home runs that ended up costing the Yankees the game. Just how it goes sometimes. Now, I think they need the night off. So I think the Yankees bats need to beat up. What's his face again? Freaking Gavin Williams, 3-10 in the regular season, 4.8 ERA. Terrible. But Yankees got to beat up on him because they need to give those guys a night off. Because I can confidently say Luke Weaver won't do that again, and Clay Holmes won't do that again. But if they pitch again tonight, like, they need rest. They need rest badly. So we'll see what the Yankees do tonight. But the Mets, they start their game in a half hour from right now. 5:08, first pitch. David Peterson, Jack Flaherty. Can Jack Flaherty dominate us again, or can the Mets finally wake up? Like I said before, they have the best lineup they've had all postseason. Lindor, Nimmo, Vientos, Alonso, Winker. That's a great top 5. Then you got Marte, Tyrone Taylor. And then I like the Jeff McNeil and Alvarez batting 8th and 9th. I think that's great. So let's see. Let's see what the Mets can do. They got to take advantage with runners in scoring position. We all know they can get runners in scoring position, but the question is, will they score with those runners in scoring position? Let's see. David Peterson, he shoves tonight. That would be great. But at the end of the day, it's on the bats. Get Sean Manaea the ball for game 6, and let's get to game 7. Series ain't over for the Mets. Yankees, I still think your series is over. You guys are going to walk away with that one. All right, we'll be back probably tonight. We're going to do an instant reaction, whether the Mets force a game 6 or their season unfortunately ends. We're going to be talking Mets and Yankees tonight, a little post-game late, probably around 11:30, depending on when these Yankees game end. But yeah, I agree. I don't like how we put McGill or Budo out there last night. I think the game was still winnable when they were in, but unfortunately, they're terrible pitchers in the postseason, especially. But Peterson, we need him to shine tonight. We've seen him shine in the postseason before, and he needs to continue that. Get Sean Manaea the ball. Let's get to game 6 and let Manaea shove in 6 so we can get to 7. All right, guys. I'll see you later tonight. Let's go Mets and Yankees. Yes, you guys as well, too. Deuces.